Welcome back to Nadya's Notes, and I'm very happy to see you here. I want to talk about reality versus illusions, especially in romantic relationships or romantic potential. So when you are trying, if you're seriously inclined about having a relationship, and forget a relationship, let's say a marriage, right? Because what is a relationship? We all have relationships with each other. But a marriage is something different. So if you are considering someone for marriage, you need to look at who that person is as a marriage partner, as a potential marriage partner, versus who they are as just a person. You can look at them as in what kind of family they come from, what kind of job they have, which is very important, both of those things. But first and foremost, you need to look as to how they treat you. And you also need to be able to have important conversations with them, deep conversations about what you would like your marriage to look like and what they would like their marriage to look like, to see if those visions are aligned. Because I think what frequently happens is the more serious something becomes, the more scared we become of kind of scaring that person off. But what happens is that we don't end up having the tough conversations for a while, and that ends up confusing us even further. You know how sometimes you meet a guy and then you meet his family and they just seem fantastic, and then you begin to associate the guy with the amazing family that he has, especially if you get along with his parents. And as tempting and wonderful and positive as that is still not the same as considering the man for who he is and how he envisions your marriage. I think it's super important to go into these things by having all the real and tough conversations. And this wasn't, I kind of lost track of this for a while, for a variety of reasons. I think I was also became scared to have these conversations, especially, there's an interesting Italian restaurant, Rossioli. Yeah, so I became scared of having these conversations.
It's facing you?
Yeah.
It's facing you, face me. Look towards me.
What do you got relationships then?
Relationships?
Marriage. What do you know about marriage?
I'm never married.
Okay.
I'm the pull-out king. That's why I have no kids.
Just bide your time until the time is right. The right one will come for you. That's all I gotta say.
Well, the interruption was someone wanted to be on camera. I don't know why I went along with it and turned it their way. I'm so sorry. So what were we talking about? We were talking about the importance of having tough conversations if you're looking for marriage. Well, why? It seems quite obvious if you just think about it logically, but when your emotions are involved, it doesn't seem obvious at all. Here's why. So when you get attached and emotional and you want a thing to work, you want this relationship to turn into a marriage, it seems like the right thing to do is to say whatever or not say whatever that will turn it into a marriage. But imagine, would you ever hire an employee forever? If you had to hire an employee forever, would you not ask them as many questions as possible and try to see what they're like? In not an employee, co-founder. And imagine there are only going to be two of you. Wouldn't you ask all the tough questions? And the success of your company will depend on how good your co-founder is. Although both Judaism and Christianity would say that marriage success is also through the support, happens through the support of God. But I think we're still required to discern and figure out whether we're kind of picking a partner that is ready and capable to begin with. So if you can't have tough conversations with your partner before marriage, what makes you think that you'll be able to have tough conversations with them after marriage? And by tough, I mean honest, things that matter, things where you might have disagreements, and things where you have to work together to come to an agreement. And to even see, are you capable of coming to an agreement? Those things are super duper important, like fantastically, essentially important, because not only are you going to be using those same skills to speak with each other and discuss things with each other, not only about your relationship, but also about the relationship that you have with your future children, the relationship that you will have with your in-laws, the relationships that you will have with the world. And wouldn't you rather know if you can have those relationships and if your partner can, do what they said they would do, react the way that you want them to react, to having tough conversations, to having, to being challenged. And you want to try that out before you get married. You don't want to discover after marriage, and God forbid you're already pregnant or you have a child, that you can't get along to solve problems, to solve emotional problems you might have, to solve relationship problems, to solve family problems, to come to an agreement. That would be so super tough. And how do you test it out? You have to test it out before you get married. And it's not even about testing. You're not testing anybody. You're more seeing, you bring your truth. For example, I would love a hands-on husband, like a husband who considers our family like the most important thing and wants to spend time with the children and kind of wants to orient around that. Someone else might want something else. And if you don't bring that up ahead of time, what you might end up with is like a disconnect. And you're both surprised because, you didn't tell him and you assumed that that's his view of it. And he didn't tell you that, for example, maybe he's super career oriented because that's his view of it. And then I think it's just so satisfying to be able to have authentic conversations and be able to meet in the middle. How incredibly satisfying is that? I think that would feel amazing because it dispels fear. It tells you that you can really rely on that person, even to share how are you doing and how are you feeling and how you're processing something, and then to get what you need out of that interaction, whether it be are we in agreement on how we see family? Or let's say, we have this image of family and then we get into the thick of it and it looks different. Are we able to talk about things and as a team come up with solutions, or are we not? And these things can be ascertained before you're married. Are you able to discuss issues already right now, or potential issues? How do you brainstorm about that? How do you look at these things? Because things are going to come up, and especially when you have children, you'll have these new people on your hands who you don't know, who don't know you, and you have to establish a very, very deep bond with them. How are you going to be able to do it? Will you be able to do it? If you don't feel capable or you don't feel able, what are some things that you could do separately or together to get to that place? So those are all super important questions to have, and it's simply essential to be honest about these things. It's essential to have the tough conversations now, so that you know that you can have tough conversations later, because those things will happen. Things will need to be decided and solved and negotiated and just shared. And isn't that the whole point and joy of marriage, to be able to do that? I think it is. I really think it is. What do you guys think? Anyway, there's so much more to say about this topic, but I think this is it for now. Have tough conversations and don't be scared, because if you're scared and you don't do it now, you'll still have to do it later, but then the stakes are much higher. So you might as well know from the get-go what you're getting yourself into, and do you want that? How does that sound? Anyway, this is Nadya's Notes. Please like, please subscribe, please share, and please come back. See you tomorrow. Mwah.